Um, so if everybody's comfortable, we're going to get rolling here.
Sure.
All right. Well, welcome to the rezoning petition community meeting for 2116 East John Street. The rezoning petition number is 2023-775. This rezoning is taking place for Encompass Building Group, and we are urban design partners. My name is Nevin Gentry, and we are representing the petitioner.
And this is Joel Trice with Encompass Building Group. We've met Mrs. Nance. Jeff, it's good to have you along here too. I represent the property owner.
We have a slide in here. If you want to ask a question during the meeting, there is the chat function down below. Since there are so few of us, it won't bother me if you just pipe up, ask your question. I'll be happy to answer.
Okay.
So as you guys know, the site is just south of the 485 loop, just before you get to McKee Road, going down East John Street. This just gives you a better idea of the full extent of the property. It is mostly surrounded by vacant land, the Duke Power land. There's a pretty large electrical easement to the north, and then some available property to the south of us before you get to I believe it's a restaurant there just before McKee Road. The existing zoning of this site and the surrounding area. So this site is currently zoned R20, which is in the residential zoning and for the town of Matthews. Most of the zoning surrounding us currently is pretty consistent with residential uses. There are a couple of industrial type uses, but nothing really in the immediate area as of today. The next slide we have here, so this is the East John Street Outer Loop Small Area Plan. This was approved by the town of Matthews in 2017. And essentially what this area plan does is it outlines the future vision for this area just south of 485 and right along John Street. Most of these uses are typically mixed uses. Some of the border areas have dedicated uses for some residential and some office space. As of now in the small area plan, our site, which you can see is indicated by the red star here, is slated to be in the residential-ish area. You can see just nearby there is an office residential mix and what looks to be a daily services, which could include anything from a dental office, etc. We are currently going for an office use, and that's why we've dropped in this section from the small area plan detailing what an office focus would be for the future land use plan. So examples of uses that encourage an office focus are professional service offices and studios, such as for architects, accountants, engineers, real estate agents, doctors, dentists, investment agencies, lawyers, and similar, located within individual small office cottages, standalone office buildings to office parks comprised of several large multi-tenant buildings. We wanted to outline this since we are proposing an office type use here, really just to show that the intent of this site plan and for the future is to be in line with what the current area plan outlines for offices. So here is our technical site plan for the rezoning. As you can see, just along East John, we're proposing a 2-story office building here. And then there is a connection to East John to a parking area in the rear. This connection, we have worked with NCDOT to connect to East John. There are some future plans for widening on East John Street, which you can see sort of shaded back here. So we worked with NCDOT to make sure we were tying into that area appropriately. Just to detail and go back and cover, so the site is about 4.28 acres. The existing zoning is R20, and the proposed zoning we are going for is office, and it is a conditional district. We will be implementing, several different conditions with this rezoning to make sure that we can capture any needs from the town, any ask from the community, etc. Right now, we're looking for about 20,000 square feet of professional office use. That'll be captured in the 2-story office building. Here is a rendering of essentially what the site will look like if developed. As you can see, the site is about 4.28 acres, and the area of impact is relatively small compared to the full site area. It's also by design, as far away from the existing residential that we could really get it with, the proposed widening of John Street and then the required setbacks. So
let me interrupt you, Nevin.
sure.
Jeff, do you see your home there at the bottom of the screen?
Yes.
on the left? Okay.
Yes.
Nevin, that's the Nance home there at the cul-de-sac.
Okay.
The one closest to our property line.
Gotcha.
I just wanted to make sure everyone was, I assumed you saw that, but I just wanted to let you, make you aware that in relation to the construction, we're not going to cross that creek is our goal.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I wanted to put your mind at ease pretty quickly
Okay,
about
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So the new office building, we hope to put near, basically on the footprint of the old home that was there.
Right,
Okay.
right. Yeah, that's good. And how far back are you from John Street?
So right now, as you can see, there's a 30-foot setback from the right of way along John Street. And then there's an additional probably 20 feet to the actual road. So it's between 50 feet or more in most places from the roadway itself.
Okay, Claudia, mentioned that she had to give up some of the property line for this widening.
Mm-hmm.
So is that taken into consideration?
Yeah,
Is
that's
that
right.
something that's right there?
Mhm.
Oh, okay. Never
Yeah,
mind.
so just for your knowledge, the existing property boundary is this dark line that comes up and runs down John Street.
Uh-huh.
And then this dark line here is the proposed right of way for the road widening. So essentially everything between the two lines, the property owner unfortunately has to dedicate to NCDOT.
Gotcha.
So
Okay.
it will become theirs, and then our setbacks are based off of it.
Yep.
But the building is approximately in the same location as the existing home was just for your reference.
Right, right. Just out of curiosity, what type of office building are you proposing, made out of what materials? Like that? That's great.
Yeah, so that was our next slide. We
Wow.
read your mind. So as you know, with Joel's company, Encompass Building Group, they have some sub companies under them, and one of those is J&J Custom Homes. And as of right now, the intent is to use the office building as an office for J&J Custom Homes to operate out of. So they really want the final product to be a representation of what they would build, which are, beautiful custom homes in and around, Matthews, Indian Trail, the greater Charlotte area.
Okay.
Mhm.
But they're not planning on using it at this site to build, right?
Correct. No. So this would just be an office for them to operate their, everyday operations,
Okay.
just in-house operations. There's no construction that's going to take place here. No manufactured homes are going to be built here.
Okay, good. Good.
Yeah, so what you see is what you get. It's essentially the building and a parking area. Really, the only other thing I could say that's on site other than retained trees
Mhm.
is a stormwater quality pond is what we call it, which is just treating any of the stormwater from our building and parking area that runs off. And we say it's a pond, but we say that lightly because this is what's known as a dry pond. So it's kind of a hole in the ground that stays dry unless it rains. And then for the next day or two, it'll slowly let the water seep into the ground and treat it. So,
Are- Yeah, I'm wondering, yeah, we have so many kids that go through those woods. I wonder if that would be a problem.
so we do get that question a lot as well. This pond, again, it won't be full of water for very long if it is. Even if it is, so we'll be putting a fence around the pond as well.
Okay.
It's just a barrier for that. And I will say too, this area in the rear here is pretty difficult to get to. Joel, I think Joel can speak to that as well. It's pretty steep back there.
Pretty diverse terrain
Yeah.
Right.
back there
Yeah,
for sure.
typically those ponds are fairly shallow and they're just grass. So you have to get in there to mow. You have to get in there to mow them, and they're not an eyesore really, and they really only get used on a real hard rain, and
That's
then
right.
they dry back out.
We get a lot of flooding when we have torrential rains in those creeks, and we have a lot of flooding down at the lower part, especially the Pinnager's property. So I don't know if that will help or hinder.
So I can, that's another common question we actually get. So a stormwater quality pond is designed to capture rainwater and hold it and let it out very slowly. So typically what we see is if you take a site that's currently undeveloped and you put, let's say, 50 houses on it, and you put a stormwater pond in place, the current condition, if there was really bad erosion or flooding problems in nearby creeks, it's typically better after the construction of a new development, because all of the stormwater from the site, instead of being allowed to run quickly into a nearby creek or a flood area, it runs to these stormwater ponds, or it's piped to a stormwater pond, and then it's released very slowly. So we actually typically see a better outcome after development than before. So it's likely that it would improve the current condition as well.
Okay, and would you have like stormwater drains on the asphalt that will go into?
We will. So there will likely be, 2 or 3 catch basins in the parking area, and it will just pipe to that stormwater pond.
Okay, yeah, because I was thinking, if it hit that pavement and it goes into that creek, that will give us more water.
Sure.
How many parking spaces are we looking at here?
It's like a lot.
So we're doing, this is the required amount based on the square footage. It's about 30. I haven't counted exactly, but it's around 30 spaces. And that just provides the minimum ordinance required amount of parking. We're not doing a ton extra or anything.
Okay.
What type of vehicles will be there? It's not going to be construction vehicles or anything like that.
Just cars and light trucks,
Yeah.
Okay.
Typical, I would say the whatever cars you typically have parked in your community that people would commute to and from work every day are likely going to be there.
Okay, but it's not going to be the construction of these custom homes. You won't be storing equipment there in that parking lot, right?
No, we don't self-perform any work. We subcontract everything out. So the subcontractors have their own equipment, and tools. We're just managers, so this will just
Gotcha.
be your everyday vehicles and
Okay,
little light duty trucks like the one I drove to your house that day.
right, okay. Sounds good.
So now I will say that we have one other view of what we can see the end product. So hopefully this is something that the community would be able to pass by and sort of see it as hey, that's, oh, that's a beautiful house. And then they might notice a sign for the company and say, oh, okay, that's pretty interesting. That's J&J Custom Homes. So we're trying our best not to interrupt the area as much as possible. We don't want to put a giant office building made of bland materials and block, because that's just not consistent with the community today.
Very
Right.
good.
Yeah, you need to go in the trailer park and fix that one up too.
So our last slide here, just going on the zoning petition timeline. I just wanted to break this down and make sure everybody is aware of what's going on. So, we're having the community meeting today. The public hearing for this project is on April 10th. And if everything is good there, it will go to town planning board on April 25th. Their town planning board will discuss if they want to approve, and if they do want to approve, or if they want to deny, the town board of commissioners will meet on May 8th, and that will be sort of final decision time.
Okay. Now, would they possibly be making any requests from you guys on changing anything as far as the planning board goes? Or is it just
They do
strictly
have
approval?
the ability to request changes. Normally, their requests are changes that would benefit the community.
Right.
Typically, we never really see any changes that would negatively impact the community. But if there are changes, those will be made public, and you are free to join. These are all public meetings, so anyone is free to join. Your HOA board is more than welcome to have public input.
Okay, at one time Claudia mentioned that she couldn't get water and sewer on the property. Is that still an issue?
We have navigated several different options for water and sewer, and we have landed on a method to provide water and sewer for the property. Yeah. So that's kind of we're at this point in our timeline now, because we've weeded out all the potential issues that we weren't able to figure out up front.
All right.
Okay, what would you propose doing with the other section of the wooded section and all the stuff that's coming up next to us in the Pinnegers? What are you planning for it?
There are no
Okay.
plans.
Yeah, we're gonna leave that natural.
Yeah.
Okay, but is it part of the office zoning then? Will that part of it change?
It would technically be, so the zoning of the whole parcel changes during the rezoning. But as of now, there's no intention to do anything with that area. And if developed exactly like we're seeing here, or even remotely close, there's really likely no way to access this portion of the parcel.
Right.
So it's a small chance that anything would ever happen back there. I would not foresee that.
It's very difficult to do anything with that because of the creek, it's so small. By the time you count for the buffers and the wetlands, it almost becomes too difficult to even attempt to do anything with.
Right.
Yeah, you've got that sewer line, you've got the big
Yeah, exactly. The sewer runs right through the middle of it.
right.
Yeah, it is.
You called it a greenway when you said, "Look at it, it's got a greenway."
Kind of, sort of.
Yeah.
That's half, that's the glass half full look at it.
Sure. Yeah,
Okay,
so,
well, a lot of my reservations have been taken care of in this conversation. I'm feeling a lot better about this.
Oh,
Good.
Joel, Joel, can you get somebody over there to clean up that mess that they made when they cut down the trees? It's horrible looking.
Oh, you mean the trees that we were worried about blowing down?
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Oh my gosh, it looks awful.
I'm sure it does look a little rough. I'm anticipating if we get to move forward with this project, we'll probably try to use some of the teams that we have over there to help us drag some of that out. But
Yeah.
I don't foresee us getting to that right away. It's a tough spot back there.
Oh, it
Yep,
is.
It
We know.
is. It is. Yeah, we got four-wheelers. They have no problem getting back.
Hopefully that'll cut down on that some
Yeah.
too. Okay.
Okay.
yeah, please feel free if you have any other questions. Myself, Joel, we're absolutely happy to answer those. And like I said, if your HOAs would like to reach out, if they have any questions, if you come up with anything from your HOA meetings, please feel free to reach out to us.
Right.
You know, I'll jump back here. We do go to the public hearing on April 10th. So if you can try to get those questions to us before then, we'll answer those the best we can. You know, we'll be happy to work with you guys and
Okay.
come up with any solutions or answers to anything you have.
Yeah,
Well,
maybe.
I plan, well, within 24 hours, I'm gonna have a link to this meeting and I'll put it on our neighborhood website for anybody that's in. That way, if they, I'll be there on April 10th. I'm not sure if Teresa will be or not. She just had a hip replaced, so she's not real mobile right now.
Hobble.
But and anybody else has any questions or anything, I'll refer them to you guys. But
Great.
yeah, this has been very informative, and I think both of us feel a lot better about this now.
Yeah, we're gonna re-gentrify John Street, right?
Well,
We're hoping to help
fantastic.
you.
We're very glad to hear that you feel better about everything.
Yeah,
As long as your parking's not in my backyard, I'm fine.
I would say you likely won't be able to see it
Mhm.
through the woods there. Just guessing, but it's probably 600 to 700 feet away from
right.
your property line. So
You wouldn't have a buffer or any kind of fencing or anything like that.
So there is a buffer that's required, and I can again jump back to the plan here. There is a screening buffer, and that is this dashed line that runs around the property. Anywhere where there's existing trees and vegetation, we wouldn't be adding anything to it unless there was an area that's identified that it's not up to standard for the buffer. But as heavily wooded as this area is, we likely wouldn't.
What is the width of that buffer?
It's 20 feet.
20 feet. I can read it. Okay, there it
And
is.
that's just a zoning requirement. But as you can see, you're going to have basically everything up to this pond area and around is just a giant buffer because we don't intend to touch any of that area.
Very good.
It'll be undisturbed.
Right. I'm just worried, if you all sell the building, the next person might have a different story.
Well,
that will be quite difficult. That creek really prohibits much from happening back there. I'm sure you've been back there over the years. It's so deep.
Oh, heavens, yes. Heavens,
Crossing it would be an enormous task. I just don't. Plus that sewer, it's basically unusable. I would be shocked if anybody ever figured out how to do something with that. And we're happy to leave it wooded. And it just helps everything.
Good.
yeah, we love those woods.
And I will also mention we have some areas identified as a tree save area. Anywhere that's and that is a zoning required thing for the town. So anywhere that's recorded as tree save area, would no longer be able to be touched in the future. So that is one benefit of development in this area, is that if there's anything that during a platting process for a new development of any kind, if you identify tree save area on the site, it is then recorded in perpetuity forever. So that tree save area is what it is. Those trees will exist there until they decide to come down themselves.
Correct. Okay, good.
Yep.
Good.
Well, I'm
All
pretty happy.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Nice.
We're very glad. All right. Well, if that's it, we will wrap it up. I will say I'll give you my email address. If you would like to reach out, I'll be happy to answer your questions. My email address is my name. It's Nevin, Nevin, at urbandesignpartners.com.
It's Nevin at urbandesignpartners.com.
And you can,
what is the completion date that you're targeting to if you get this rezoning request?
so that's harder to say. If the rezoning is approved in May, we would turn around and we would start submitting construction documents to the town of Matthews, and also stormwater plans to Mecklenburg County. We would have to submit plans to NCDOT to tie into their roadway. So it will be a little while, but it's really up to them. Their permitting processes can vary quite a bit, but it won't be a few months. It'll be longer than that. So that I can say.
All right.
Okay.
We'd love to get started on it this year, but it would, it feels a little bit like early next year right now.
Okay.
Okay, if I have another tree that needs to come down, who do I contact?
Still got my number, don't you?
Yes, I do.
If there's one bothering you, let me know. I'll come look at it.
Okay, yeah, it's that one that the ivy crawled all the way up. Pieces of it are falling out again.
Okay.
So, all right.
We'll let you catch your breath through this rezoning before we get into that.
Well, glad you're both on the call. So
Yeah.
we were hoping to see you here, and
Yeah,
you
we
got
were.
a front row seat.
Evidently, everybody else missed it. But I wouldn't have missed it.
No, we're good.
Yeah.
And I'll if I don't talk to you before, I'll see you on I guess that's Monday, right? Yeah. See you on Monday.
Yeah.
Great. All right. Well, we will conclude the meeting. And again, thank you everyone for joining us and for the great questions.
Okay.
Well,
Thank
quite
you.
welcome. Thank you, Nevin.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joel.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye-bye.